The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18 plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.
Listen, all you New Yorkers.
Taxi!
Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
And what will President Trump do with Iran? He was in the Situation Room. So far, he has not made an announcement. There's a whole bunch of different reports kind of trickling out that there may be something tied to opening up the Strait of Hormuz. Trump also suggesting that it would be the U.S. who would get the nuclear dust, but it's still unclear. And the stakes, John, couldn't be higher. And joining us now, we have Victoria Coates, one of our favorites, John.
Victoria Coates, she knows where all the bodies are buried.
Yeah, that's what we love about it. That's a good thing, right, Ed?
Yeah, you bet.
All right, well, let's go to the expert on where the bodies are buried. Victoria Coates, former Deputy National Security Advisor under President Trump. Victoria, what do you think he's going to do? I mean, the whole world's like on pins and needles. He had a big meeting with the Situation Room folks, all the national security team in there, and still everyone's waiting. They were thinking he might make an announcement.
Well, he certainly will when he's good and ready, Rita. And, great to be with all of you. And we have to wait and see what's in the details. I'm just going through X. Everybody thinks they know what's in the deal. Guess what? They don't. New York Times doesn't know. I don't know. The president knows what he's willing to accept. And, all of these different things are being tossed around. I did think his post from early this afternoon was pretty black and white. These are my terms. No nuclear dust, open the strait, no money changes hands till you guys do stuff. And, that is the way to treat them. It's the opposite of the Biden and Obama approach, even the George W. Bush approach to Iran. This is much, much stronger. And the other piece of this is, are they actually circling the drain economically? Secretary Bessent really opened that door yesterday, saying they have maybe 10 days of liquidity left. What's happening there? And I think that's a really interesting question as well. Will that put the necessary pressure on them to get this done?
So the other thing, I have a whole bunch of questions for you. First, on the freezing of assets. Obviously, everything with with Iran has to be verified. I don't even say trust, but verify. I just say verify because I don't trust.
Distrust.
All right, right. So how do you ensure that? And even, I think a lot of people, when they even hear of any money being unfrozen, obviously Iran wants to get something out of it. I cringe when I hear that. I cringe. I think of the pallets of cash. It's different. But what do you say to Americans?
No, I think that's ill-advised. Now, there are assets that we no longer control that Joe Biden unfroze that went to Qatar. The president can't control what happens with those. Now, he has a lot of influence over that. And the question is, what did we actually get if that indeed be true? And so, as I said, I want to see the whole thing. I want to take a look at what we got. I want to take a look at what is actually happening in Iran. Because, Rita, one of the issues we have is if Secretary Bessent be correct, and we're looking at 10 days of liquidity, and they do make these massive concessions to President Trump now, we could be looking at a Gorbachev process whereby Reagan essentially forced Gorbachev into concessions that eventually led to the dissolution of the Soviet Union. Very desirable outcome. What Reagan wanted to do. What happened during the Clinton administration is another question, but that was Reagan's outcome. He got to it. And so I think, chaos in Iran is not a great outcome. I don't know how well we can manage that. I think a much more orderly process would be better. But what I'd like to see is the seeds of that process baked into whatever this deal is.
Ed Cox is here.
Victoria, in order to carry on that thought, at least we have a leader here in the United States who will make a decision. Is there that kind of cohesion in government in Iran, or do you need kinetic action in order to focus their collective minds to get what we want?
That's been the question all along, Ed. I mean, the kinetic action has been targeted at precisely that outcome. So hopefully somebody is calling the shots. We're seeing a lot of sniping between President Pezeshkian and the IRGC. The IRGC seems to have crept out of their boxes earlier this week with those missile launches and trying to lay some mines. The United States responded very forcefully. They haven't tried again. So maybe we do have a decision maker here who can sign this deal, start to implement its terms, and then we'll see. And the other thing we've had since I talked to you guys is results from this opening up of the internet. We're starting to get more and more internet access to the Iranian people. We're starting to hear about what's actually going on inside of the country. It's terrible. 3 million jobs gone, among other things, and so the people are extremely unhappy and wanting to start to work toward the kinds of changes that we all want to see in Iran. But the Iranian people also don't want a chaotic meltdown.
Yeah, and they're also not armed. I mean, that's the other thing too, which is really, Trump even sort of expressed anger with the Kurds publicly, saying, we were hoping they were going to give some weapons to the brave Iranians, and they didn't get it. So they're sitting there waiting.
Well, and that's the thing is, the Kurds have been really good allies to the United States in the Kurdish region of Iran. We have a lot of experience there. But what the Kurds don't want to be are the only people creating revolution in Iran. That's not going to be broadly popular. And they're talented fighters, so they could probably fight their way to Tehran, but then they'd turn around and need no one to support them. And that would be a problem. So I do think we need to look at other diasporas in Iran, as well as the Persians, the Azeris, Azerbaijan, neighboring Azerbaijan. That's the biggest ethnic group besides the Persians in Iran. I think we would need a more comprehensive strategy to talk to not just the Kurds, also the Azeris, the Baluch, and see if we can get more consensus from them.
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, we'll see where it goes. What's your sense of what the next 24, 48 hours is going to bring? I also wonder, Victoria, and I know that's a $64 million question, but John said, do you know where the bodies are buried? But what do where do you see it going? Is there a chance? And I wonder, because Trump is the master of deals and sort of the master of deflection. Just when people suddenly out of the blue is like, oh, whoa, he went in there and he bombed those 3 sites in June. Oh, whoa, he went in and he did this. Is there a chance that it could be, well, let's see where the deal is. He's already maybe even made up his mind the deal's not perfect. He said he won't accept anything short of it. And maybe kinetic action happens very soon.
Oh, it could. I think I do think it's going to be in the next 24 hours. He's going to go in one path or the other. Obviously giving diplomacy every chance, making his lines clear. That's what that post was today. Here's the deal, guys. Take it or leave it. If they leave it, then I know there is a plan to clear the strait. It is difficult. I would prefer not to have to do that, but our military can. So if that's where we have to go, that's where we have to go. And I think that's where
he's one tough president.
Oh.
I would bet on him anytime. The art of the deal. He knows what has to be done. He realizes all the problems on the left, all the problems on the right, and the Israeli problems because they have their own agenda, and I understand that. But we got to do what's right for the United States of America.
Judge Weinberg.
100%, John.
I just have trouble respectfully with John's comment about the Israelis have their own agenda. Yes, the Israelis.
Netanyahu has his own agenda.
Well, yeah, he also has
that's his right. That is his right. Okay. He is the CEO of Israel, and he wants to do what he wants to do, right? And nothing wrong with that.
Okay, but the interests are coextensive since Israel is facing an existential threat, and as soon as Israel is knocked out of the box, the United States and Western civilization lose all the technological advantage, all the intelligence advantage, all the bodies that fight to protect Western civilization. I don't see a divergence. I don't see a divergence of interests here.
And it would take a long time to recapture where we are now if that happens.
Yeah, it is a moment.
So I don't
It is
think there's a
moment.
all I'm respectfully submitting is I don't see a divergence between the interests of the Israelis and the United States at this time.
It comes.
A key question in the
And
situation.
I don't
room.
disagree. Look, Israel is our ally, and I'm pro-Israel. But right now, if we lose the elections in November, guess what? Israel loses too.
I agree with that.
Yeah, sadly, I agree too. I agree with that.
Ed Cox?
Get down to the ground here. A key question in the Situation Room: can the military actually open the straits? If they can do that, kinetic action.
Yeah, Victoria?
If they can't, it's another question.
The answer to that question, Ed, is yes.
Then that's what will come out of the Situation Room.
I don't think we're going to publish the war plan for that, but we can.
Right.
Yeah, John, what are your thoughts?
Don't forget, you're dealing with possibly some supersonic missiles that are coming at you so fast, not even our best carriers or our best destroyers can prevent it. And if something happens to one of those destroyers or aircraft carriers, then you have World War III.
Yeah, that is a mess.
If that's the situation, then we never should have gone into the war with Iran.
No, you're in there now. You're in there, and it is what it is.
I agree with you if they had that, but that should have been the decision made, and I'm sure it was.
Last word for Victoria Coates.
Okay. If they had that, they would have used it. And, there's always a lucky shot from the bad guys, but they have fired off pretty much what they have. And so I don't think that is as much of a concern. But I do think we'll see what happens in the next 24 hours. Hopefully I will get to
We go
reconvene
hour
with
by
these fine
hour.
people next
Victoria
week.
Coates, we love you.
Yeah, Victoria,
Thank you.
keep us posted.
Keep us posted.
Will
And
do.
Rita's on between 10 and 12. Anything happens at that point, call her.
Yeah, any bodies
will do.
unburied, make sure you call me. Right?
If you find any
You're on
bodies.
speed dial.
Thank you so much.